Hi, Stephen. Thank you for joining us. Here is our head coach, Stephen Hart. We'll open it up to questions. Again, if you can use the raise your hand icon, and we'll get started with Neil Davidson. Hi, Neil.
Hi, Gareth. Stephen, thank you for taking the time today, and congratulations on your team's performance at the tournament. There was a lot of turnover with your club. I believe you had just 7 holdovers for last year. When you got this year's squad finally together, what did you see about them that has taken them to the final?
We had only, of course, a short time together before the lockdown, but already you could see the sort of competition among them. One for the group that remained to prove their worth, and then the ones coming in all wanted to show why they were selected, and started immediately. There was a competition for places, and I think that was the healthiest situation I could have asked for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Jonathan Brigant.
Hi, Stephen. First of all, congrats on your nomination for Coach of the Season. You had 3 of your players nominated for individual awards. I know it takes a team to get to those points, but what did it mean to see those 3 returning players recognized for their work in this tournament?
Well, yeah, I mean, you could only get such a nomination from your performances. And of course, their performances were supported by other players on the team. These individual awards are very difficult in a team scenario, but I'm very happy for them, because they have worked hard. Some of them had to adapt to new positions, and they've done so. So congratulations to them.
And a follow-up, you've had a couple more days of rest than usual. Obviously, you have a big game to prepare for. So, yeah, what have the last couple days been like with the team preparing for Saturday?
Well, we really only began our preparation in earnest yesterday, and of course today. But when I say that, I mean on the field. It's looked good. There were some players we have to be a little bit cautious with, and they did train, so everything looks fine.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. To Marty Thompson.
Hey, Stephen, just to follow up on Jonathan's question there, it seems like Forge and Halifax have been, I don't want to use the term spared from injury problems, because that's not fair to say, but maybe have had a lighter sentence when it comes to injuries and nagging issues. Would you sort of agree with that? And do you sort of think that's maybe why your team has shown such longevity in a tournament?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've been lucky. Our medical staff has worked very hard to ensure this happens. We changed some of our preseason training a bit, because we had so much muscle injuries last year, and we were fortunate to play in a tournament and get away without too much contact injuries, which sort of helped us, and of course also the ability to rotate the squad a bit more this year than we could have last year.
And then just to follow up, Forge is a team that has played in CPL final. They played in CONCACAF League games. There are players in your team that haven't played a professional final before. Do you think that maybe this environment, sequestered away, a province away, there's going to be some fans, but not many. Do you think that's going to help your team try to get over some of those nerves?
I really don't know how to answer that. I mean, I think when you adapt a competitive spirit, this is the situation you dream of being in. I doubt there's any single player that's satisfied with just getting to the final. It took a lot of effort, a lot of in-squad competition to get this far, and I am sure those that get selected on the day are going to put their best foot forward, because at the end of the day, that's all you can ask of them.
Thanks, Stephen.
Okay, Carlos.
Hi, Stephen. Congrats to being on the final. My question to you is, I know you're not looking past this season, but you mentioned in the past that this season was sort of preparation for the next. So how does it feel to kind of overachieve this successfully and taking the Wanderers to the final? With this, will change your plans for the next season, for the upcoming 2021?
No, this was the path we decided we were going to take as a club. Sorry, I don't know what's happening, but this was the path we chose to be as a club, and nothing's really changed. You know, the squad came together. We've had good games. We've had good moments. We've also had bad moments, which is normal in the sport. But really and truly, everything is still for an eye for 2021, because let's face it, it's not a season of 28 games or whatever. It just is a tournament, and when we were planning for this, we said, look, we're going to use the tournament to let people prove themselves, give them an opportunity, and then we start building again for 2021.
Thank you very much, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos. To Michael McCall.
Hi, Stephen. I just wanted to ask a little bit about Akeem Garcia. Obviously, he's up for the MVP award. Can you talk a little bit about how you've seen his game develop between last season and this season? What do you feel it is that he's worked on, or that you've worked on with him, that's kind of taken him a little bit now to the next level?
Well, I mean, to be fair to Akeem, last season he played out of position in a number of games in order to help the team, and that's just the nature of the player. He will do anything that's asked of him. And once we got back into this season and we came into training camp, both of us sat down, we had a discussion. I told him what I'm looking for from him and where he needs to improve his game. And he's worked diligently on that. And as a consequence, of course, compounded by the variety of service he can now get from both inside the field and the wide positions, he's done well.
His play last year saw him get back into the Trinidad national team setup. Was that you alerting the coaching staff down there, or have they been keeping a close eye on him the whole time that he's been in Halifax?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. Derek King is part of the staff down there now, and of course he has a close tie to the club, and he's going to be keeping an eye on both Akeem and Rampy. So yeah, it's a little bit of, you know, us communicating and saying, look, this player is doing well. We share his qualities. We share his medical on how he's doing, and it's up to them to select or not select.
Great. Thanks, Stephen, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. To Alan Hughes.
Hi, Stephen. Thanks for doing this. Your team, HFX Wanderers, has the highest percentage, I should say, or amount of U Sports players on your roster. You've got 6 different players, names like Bent, Sissoko, Oxner, Chalet. I could go on and on. How has that group, contributed to your success this season? And personally for you, why was it important for you to have such a large U Sports contingent, providing that opportunity, the pathway to continue to play in Canada as a former national team head coach yourself of Team Canada?
Well, I mean, it's a matter of seeing the players' qualities and then giving them the opportunity to come and bring those qualities to our club. We didn't select them simply because they were youth sport players. We selected them based on their ability and things that you see them doing as players that you say you need at the club or you can work with, and the rest is up to them. And all credit to them. They've come in. They've done their best to adapt. They're still adapting. They're still learning. But that's what this league is for. We have to beat the bush and find the Canadian players, give them the opportunity, set the standards, and they have to live up to it. If they didn't live up to it, they wouldn't be here.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alan. To Alexandre.
Hey, Stephen. Obviously, much has been made. You've had the chance to play Forge twice. You've drawn them twice. Heading into this third matchup, are there any particular battles you're looking for on the field as particularly key to beating them in that third try over 90 minutes?
Yeah, 11 versus 11. Yeah, let's be honest, it's a final, eh? And everyone basically on a field is going to match up in some form. And usually a final is a cagey affair, and it's going to be one of those situations where small margins are going to make the difference, and hopefully we can play a near flawless game, keep our errors to a minimum, and if things go your way, be the victors in the end.
Well, I guess kind of a follow-up on that. A lot has been made of kind of both of your guys' midfield. Obviously on Forge, they've got Kyle Becker and Alexander Ancelotti-Johnson, who's, they're in the final last year. They're well-known. And on your team this year, you've got so many pieces: Ramper, Sad, Abubakar Sissoko, Louis Bélangoyet. Is the midfield in particular going to be an area to watch for your team, you think?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, Becker and the Forge midfield is a special midfield, and you saw Becker's quality with that pass in the cavalry game with both feet. He has vast experience, international, MLS, and they have vast experience as a team, Premiership, MLS, international. And those things will serve them well, but it is one game. And it's one of those situations where, as I said, if we as a team could settle our nerves, not be afraid to accept the responsibility when we receive the ball, and just carry out our individual roles, then collectively things should work out.
Thanks, Stephen, and good luck on the final.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Over to Armin. Hi, Armin.
Hey, Stephen. I got just one question for you. You mentioned before the last match that you had taken a nice little nap and hadn't watched the earlier game. I was wondering, once the Island Games is done and dusted, how do you plan on, relaxing and recuperating from what has been probably a pretty exhausting experience in a hotel bubble?
Well, I think that came across wrong. I watched most of the game and then fell asleep. I saw what I wanted to see, I guess, and was a little bit tired. But I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, to be honest. I don't do well without football. So I'll spend some time with the family and then, reassess the team, things that need to be done, etc., and just dive back into that side of things. But I don't do well when I'm not on the field working with the players, when there are no games, etc. So I guess I'll just drive everybody crazy at home.
Thank you, Stephen.
Okay, thanks, Armin. Back to Anthony.
Hi, Stephen. Just on a personal note, I know you're a very humble guy, but a lot was made of us finishing last year. I know you're sitting here as a Coach of the Year nominee. On a personal level, how does that make you feel?
Well, I only found out a few minutes ago that I was actually nominated for Coach of the Year. and you know, really, it's look. I last year, if you assess things correctly, we went on a run of 7 or 8 games. All were tied. I didn't think we played that badly. Things just didn't go our way in terms of wins. And if we had won 2 of those games, we'd have been much higher up the table. So I was not overly worried. And then this year things have fallen into place, and then all of a sudden I'm up for Coach of the Year. And it comes down to the players. They've you know, they're given a game plan. You try to tell them how to bring their abilities to the game. At the end of the day, they go out, play the game, they're on the stage. You have about 15 minutes at halftime to settle them down and just reassure them on certain things. And they were the ones who did it. And I'm grateful for them for bringing me this far.
Nice. And just a follow-up question. I hate to bring it back up again, but obviously after the game against Pacific, how did you make sure that it didn't affect the team's morale? What did you say to the players afterwards to make sure going into the final that this didn't affect anything?
I haven't mentioned that game once. Honestly, I haven't mentioned the game once. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter. Yes, we you know, I'm sorry for the fans or whatever. But to be fair to those, that team never prepared to play Pacific. Everything was changed at the last minute because of the result. And you know, you give them some guidance on a PowerPoint. And you say, look, go out and make the best of it. Show, you know, and it didn't go our way. But I haven't mentioned the game. Haven't.
Amazing. Congratulations again, and best of luck tomorrow from Halifax.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Anthony. We've got a couple more questions, and then we will have time for another round of questions. So if you do want to get another question into Stephen, please use that raise your hand icon. We'll get to you next. It's going to be Neil Davidson. Hi, Neil.
My question was asked already. I'm sorry, I should have lowered the hand.
No problem. Let's go then to CPL Fever. Hi, guys.
Hi, Gareth. Hi, Stephen.
Hello.
Congratulations on making it to the finals, and I'm really excited to watch you and the Waters in the finals. But my question for you is, you've been particularly effective against Forge. They've only scored against you in penalties and no open play. So how do you think you've been able to stop Forge from scoring against you on open play?
You really can't expect me to answer that right now. But look, you know, it's a game of mistakes, and if we can force the opposition to make more errors, to make them uncomfortable, then we try. And they are trying to do the same thing to us, and we have to be focused and concentrated on the things that we do well. And if we could get that right, you give yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a fighting chance on
Thank
winning this. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Back to Michael McCall.
Just another quick one for you, Stephen. I've been asking a few of the coaches this over the last couple of days and weeks. The season, once it's finished, it's going to be about another 6-7 months before these guys are back on the pitch. What are you hoping to do, or have you got any plans for what you're hoping to do with some of the younger guys to get them more playing time, more development time? Have you been in any chats with any teams overseas that possibly maybe sorting out some loan deals for them?
Well, yeah, we've had these discussions. It's a very difficult situation. We haven't faced it before. We're trying to see where players can be loaned, but it's not like a lot of leagues are in operation that are willing to look at players. Things are just not the same in the world right now, and things are just not the same in the world of football right now. But we are looking for the possibility of getting them into situations where they could be playing on a way more consistent basis.
And at the start of the tournament, I asked you what it would mean to you if Halifax got into the Canadian Championship final. It seemed so far away when we were talking about that. Now you're one game away from meeting TFC in that final. I don't know how much you can or how much you want to say about the possibility of that. But if you did get into the final, TFC seemed to be pushing towards a December or a January meeting. No matter who gets in tomorrow between yourselves and Forge, do you feel this should get played way sooner while you guys are fresh and you're not months possibly out of action?
Yeah, well, first to begin, I haven't thought about that at all. But if you're asking me if that game should be played sooner, with both leagues running at present, I would say yes. It should be played sooner. I mean, really and truly, who wants to be playing in December in Canada?
Yeah, that's what I think too. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you, Michael. Back to Armin. Hi, Armin.
Hey, Stephen. Just have a question about the trophy to your right there. It would be, I think, your first club trophy since your time with King of Donaire. And that was all the way back in 2001. How special would winning the North Star Shield be for you personally? And do you see it as an opportunity to potentially, put a kind of a capstone on a very long managerial career that you've played both, or you've coached both club and international? How special do you think it will be for you to potentially lift that trophy?
Yeah, it would be a feather in my cap, so to speak. But I think overall, in somebody brought in to build this club within the community of Halifax, it'll be greater for the club and for the community. And then it would be very good for the players, because they might get a little more looking, a little more detailed looking, I should say, or maybe I should say respect, because they've achieved this. And really and truly, that's the goal of the club, that's the goal of the league. But from a personal standpoint, it would be a feather in my cap, but I haven't given that much thought either.
Can I ask you to elaborate a little bit about your own personal career? You're a head coach who's pretty respected around the league from the other coaches and throughout most of Canada, I would say. But you have gone through ups and downs, both with Canada, both with Trinidad. I'm wondering, is a successful win at the Island Games, is that something that you see as a culmination of all of your experiences, all the highs and lows that you've personally experienced?
No, I think highs and lows are part of football. It can be a cruel mistress. And I've coached my adopted country and my home country. I've done the best I could in both situations. It's not like both countries are consistently knocking on the door of World Cup campaigns or those international campaigns, and I came in with all these ups and downs. It is one of those situations where you really, it's night and day. International football and the pressures that go with it are very, very different from the club scenario. But having come into the club with a double objective, of course, to coach it and then to build it on the other side, yeah, of course, everybody wants to win something. I'm not going to downplay that. It's why we are competitors. But certainly for the club right now, this is where I am. This is what it's about. I would love it to happen, and we will see if that manifests itself tomorrow.
And forgive my prying, I have one last question. Has this been the easiest coaching experience of your career, or the most difficult, or where would you rank this Island Games experience amongst your vast library of different experiences?
The Island Games, so not just coaching in the CPL. The Island Games is a tournament. and I've been to many. I think I'm probably one of those that's most accustomed to this sort of environment. And it's been an interesting scenario, an interesting concept. I'm very pleased that the league managed to pull it off. There's a lot of work that went into this to make it a reality in a very, very difficult time period for the world and for Canada. And I'm just grateful that the players got to play. I got to be able to coach. I got to see my colleagues in action and share a laugh with them. I'm just happy to be working, to be honest.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Alan. 3 more questions to go for Stephen, beginning with Charlie O'Connor-Clark.
Thanks, Gareth. Hey, Stephen, I just have a quick one for you, kind of going back to the task at hand. You mentioned that this game tomorrow could come down to little details. So with that in mind, have you put any thought at all in terms of training or talking to players about a penalty shootout?
Oh, obviously, yes, of course. We've had some penalty pick 2 squads. Those squads had to pick the shooters. Who has the confidence to step up? Everybody is confident to step up when it's not really on the line. But we have worked on it from a goalkeeping perspective and from a shooting perspective. We try to cover as much details as possible. The players would tell you I drive them a little bit crazy with details at times. But we have thought about it.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Back to Jonathan Briggins.
Hey again, Stephen. Just a quick one for you. Last weekend, it was a nice treat. A lot of Wanderers fans were able to gather at the Wanderers grounds and watch on the screens. You know that fans are going to be there again in their socially distant pods. Lots of families watching at home. So what's it mean to have that support and know that there are so many people behind the team kind of distantly?
It's, I can't even really put it in words. It's just tremendous because, if there's no fans, if there's no interaction with fans, it's very, very difficult. And football without fans is just sweating, But just to know that they have been behind us all along, even in lockdown, they have been supporting us and the passion they have shown. People say in Canada we don't have passion for the sport. I could only speak about Halifax. It's been a breath of fresh air. I'm really, really touched and grateful that we have the fan base that we do have.
Excellent. Thank you, Jonathan. And to finish it off, the last question goes to Carlos.
Hi, Stephen. I had 3 quick ones, very, very quick one. The very first one is we saw many different systems that you play with the squad, but it seems like the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-4-2, it's giving you the most of the results. Is there any system that you would like to kind of like put, not in the final, but just like to work with the squad for the future and the upcoming seasons?
Yeah, of course, we've thought about that. In the time frame we had, it was impossible. We started off playing with a 4-3-3 in the tournament. It's something we tinkered with, but really and truly, coming in, we said, look, this is the way we want to play. This is a small variation based on personnel on the pitch. And don't confuse the players. Systems of play do not win games. They have never won games and they will never win games, right? So, we just stuck to what we thought was the best fit for the players that we have.
Perfect. And my last 2 ones are like very quick too. In regarding the penalty shootouts, how important it's going to be that there is no crowd, because sometimes the crowd plays a big critical factor in a penalty shootout. The fact that it's a bubble in Prince Edward Island, how is that important, and maybe could benefit both teams in a final if we get to a penalty shootout?
Yeah, it's a good point. Listen, it's going to be enough of a pressure knowing you're in the final kicking a penalty. The crowd would have just been, by that point, almost noise in the background. But yeah, it will make a bit of a difference. But let's hope not.
And my very last one is, just to close this one, is what message do you have for the supporters? We know Halifax has the best supporters in the Canadian Premier League. Is there any message that you would like to send to all the listeners that are waiting for the final? It's going to be a very historical moment for the club.
Yeah, I would say thank you. We appreciate your patience, and we love you.
Thanks, Stephen. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And just to finish Jonathan's note about the Wanderers Grounds watch party, that one is now sold out for anyone interested in that, with the fans who will be watching on the big screens tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Stephen. I'll hand it back over to Mickey, and then Aaron will be here with Forge's news conference.